If anyone ever wonders where I got my love of nature, this is the answer. My mom.
Is that your bird food?
It's the economy mix. But I definitely have to get on more clothing before I attempt to go out there. And then I need shoes.
Where do you keep your little ladder? Yeah, you are not messing around.
I can't reach it by myself.
The birds will be forever grateful, Mother.
I know, for a week at least.
You get so sad when they fly away.
I know, I love them.
Do you worry that they forget you or something?
My shoes now.
Oh my god.
Bye. Bye.
How is she real?
Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely where I got it.
Oh my god. She's so dedicated.
I feel like we have so much to catch up on. I've continued to be in this hibernation mode, which has meant some very big internal life shifts. So I feel like I have so much to tell you. But in terms of more normal life happenings, as I mentioned in my last video, I left the tiny house in January to spend what I thought was going to be 3 or 4 days with my mom at her house. But it turned into almost 3 weeks, and it was an amazing time. I'll make another video about that story, but in this video, I'm sharing how we're flowing with nature's rhythms while living our magic and unconventional tiny house life in the remote West during this in-between season, and how I've been aligning our living space and daily routines with the natural world around us. And I'm going to share something that I've been developing for years that I'm genuinely so excited to share with you. It is so magical how different landscapes can hold you in different ways depending on their features. One of the things that I love about where my mom lives is that it's nestled within a mostly evergreen forest. It's so different from the land of our tiny house that is endless sky and wide open exposed landscape. I've been dwelling in a somewhat tender and vulnerable space these weeks while hibernating, because it has led me to having to really look at what I want to do in life, but I've also had to face the hard truths of why I haven't been doing those things. So right now, I've really craved the containment that the trees and the forest offer.
Wow. This is so magic. Oh no.
a branch went up my bum.
I have to do this differently. The softness and the quiet is just exquisite. Like, I was just thinking back in the fall, I was thinking so much about winter, and I was just a little bit hesitant about it. But now that I'm in it and I'm here, it's just so, it feels so deeply nourishing, and it feels so simple. I don't know how else to put that. Oh, it's made me cry. How many times in videos when I'm in nature and I'm just like, I'm gonna cry. It's just so funny because I'm just realizing, you know, how conceptual our ideas about our relationship with the seasons can be. And that's such a simple way to say it, but that's such a complex statement. Over the last 2 years have been unpacking, you know, the conceptual understanding of winter and realizing that actually they are so dynamic, and they are so expansive, and they are so multidimensional that when we have a conceptual view and we just project onto it, we cut ourselves off from and having an alive and conscious relationship with the earth and with nature. And the trees are like, stop talking, just be quiet and listen. Okay. I was like a movie. I was just walking under this big tree, and since the snow is starting to melt a little bit, the snow is falling from the trees. And I just looked up and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then it was just like, I got covered in snow. That was amazing. I wish I had that on camera. Oh man. So it's not necessarily spring cleaning,
No.
but we just had the cross quarter point in between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, which to me energetically just means we're beginning our departure from the deep winter and the winter time. And so it just feels right to maybe not do like a spring cleaning, but like a cross quarter cleaning.
Yeah.
Take down the cranberries, take down all of the holiday lights, and all of the evergreens that we decorated the house with are so dry.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of vacuuming.
It's gonna be interesting. Lift it, open the door, and then just toss it outside.
Right.
It was so interesting to notice that as soon as we hit the cross quarter point of the season in early February, how immediate the energy of the earth changed. And while I loved the decorations that we made and put up for the solstice, it was clear that that chapter had ended and that it was time to take them down. If you watched my holiday video, you know that creating traditions in harmony with natural cycles is something that I'm learning and integrating into my life, and I want to share what I learn as I learn it with you. So for those interested in that way of living with nature, one simple yet unexpectedly transformative tradition I've adopted is the ritual of cleaning and changing or renewing our living space as the natural world transitions. And there are countless ways to shift your home's energy to honor and acknowledge the change, from doing a simple deep cleaning on those days to crafting symbolic elements that represent the changing cycle that you put up. You might incorporate different colors for different seasons, bring in natural elements like dried seasonal flowers, or make things from foraged materials. It is so lovely and it makes such a difference. And the best part is that you don't need to go and buy a bunch of new things to do this.
They're so light. I haven't really decided what I want to do with the garland.
What do you think?
I think it would be nice to like remake them every year.
Right. Yeah, some of them are all squishy,
Yeah.
and some of them dried super well.
Yeah, and they also feel like they took on a lot of energy.
I kind of agree. I mean, the intention was that they were gonna like be the energetic placeholder of like Persephone.
Yeah. So I think it's good to get rid of them.
Yeah, and I think like the tradition itself of making them is kind of the point, because
Right.
then you're engaging in the practice
Exactly.
and the energy and stuff. And I just want to put them outside and like
Yeah.
make an offering to the land.
Mm-hmm.
But probably what I could do is just cut the fishing wire and then string them off
Yeah.
so that there's no,
Exactly.
yeah, not putting them. That'll make some little creature very happy.
Very happy indeed.
Just give them. This area could use a good clean. Really did like having color up though. Maybe I can make different garlands for different seasons.
Uh-huh.
Like maybe I could dry flowers in the summer.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh my god, that's so cold. Look at how much cat hair is on.
Oh my gosh.
She's not even shedding.
Living in a tiny house with 2 adults, 2 cats, and a wood stove for heat means that we have to be on top of cleaning pretty much all of the time. Luckily, both Noel and I enjoy keeping a clean space and have the same standards of cleanliness, so it works out for us, but cleaning is a constant daily chore. Compared to our previous house, which was massive, the simplicity of tiny living has gifted us so much freedom and mindfulness. Because the mindfulness that we've developed around our possessions and our living space has naturally extended to how we spend our most precious resource, our time. And the less time we spend maintaining our stuff and cleaning, the more time we have for adventures, creativity, and being present. You know, this lifestyle isn't easy, but it has made us so wealthy in our time. And that has truly changed everything. can barely see me. But one of my favorite things about the winter is that there's owls. I don't want to spook up. We hear them like every night. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's the moon. We're pretty sure that they're great horned owls. Or positive, really. I can get closer. But sometimes there's at least 2 or 3. And they all kind of have a big conversation. Oh, it's so cold outside. Oh my god. We're actually just falling asleep. And I heard it and I was like, oh my god, I have to go outside. One time I saw them and I was standing basically directly under the tree that they were in, and because it was almost a full moon, I could see them take off. And it was like something out of a movie, but they were dead silent. They are so quiet when they fly. It's incredible. I think it can see me from here. Maybe I should go back. They can be very what is the word? Shy about their hoots. But that's one of my favorite things about the winter, is we hear so many owls. And we can hear them as we're falling asleep, and it's just so magic. Wow, it's so beautiful out right now.
Gotta get up and make a fire, Bubba. Oh. Storms are coming, Bubba. Storms are coming. Oh, it's cold. Are you cold, Lil? Are you ready for breakfast? Oh, it's so dry. Alright, here we go. Is it breakfast time? Is it breakfast time, Papa? Is it breakfast time? You want your breakfast? Yeah. Looks like there's a storm. Back up. We're not ready. Gotta break down the chunks for Bubba.
It's warm enough that the prairie dogs are out, which is really strange for this time of year here. But the sound that they make, they sound like laughing old men at like a card table. But I'm just on a walk. Oh, and my new coat! Wait, how do we do this? Put you here for a second. I got it for free! Can you believe it? It was at the little town that's, one of the towns that's closest to us. It was at the Free Box. And it's this really good quality of fleece that they used to make. Blech. Is this even worth it? What am I doing? If you look at the tag, it's like a kind of a vintage brand. So it's like really good. It's like really good quality and it's so cute. Oh, look at the mountains. At least there's snow on the mountains. Wow, the sun is already going down. So right now we are in the Gregorian calendars, month of February. It's February 21st today. For me, I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but as a modern human who, is very displaced from the lineage of, where my ancestors and my bloodline is from. And as somebody who feels very strongly about living in rhythm and harmony with nature and natural cycles and natural law and, something that makes sense, not these arbitrary systems that have been made up in the modern age. When I realized that I can't necessarily look to the past for a lot of answers to questions that I have and can't necessarily look to my lineage to teach me about certain things, about living in harmony with nature or the land or all these things. My little soapbox now. So I realized we are modern people who are completely capable of creating traditions and rituals and culture that works for us, that meets, it's like if I used a lot of older ways or even holidays of orienting in space and time, it doesn't necessarily make sense for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, modern life is so different. And the other thing is, I now live on a continent and on a land that is very different. And so what I realized is if I was just looking to the past, it would all be so conceptual and not very real, and it wouldn't meet modern realities. There's modern life has created its own rhythms and cycles that as a human I need support around. So I don't think I've ever shared this, but I have come up with my own calendar. Well, what to even say about it? I could talk about this till the ends of time. I have thought so many times about making podcasts or writing about this or so many things. Just ask my friends. But let's see if I can kind of keep this simple. I call it the natural year because it follows, not only is it based in natural law. Here, maybe I need to sit down for a second. This looks like a good spot. Among the prairie dog holes. Oh, in the mountains. Oh. Oh. Wow. Oh, that's just lovely. Okay. I don't even know what I've said. What have I said? It's designed around natural law and the different stages and the natural stages of life. And it's a combination of a lunar and a solar calendar. And it's completely changed my life. I'm still learning it. Like, I feel like something is teaching me this because I know nothing. It's starting from square one, and everything that I've just said doesn't do it justice. There's so many different layers and levels and nuances to it. Developing my own orientation and time and space has made a huge difference in my life. And right now in that system, we are in the 4th moon, coming up on the 5th moon. And honestly, like, every year that I've been doing this, the 4th moon always stands out to me as kind of this very fallow and open and sort of disorienting, sort of a confusing time. Like, it's like a very in-between time. It's a transition time. It's a liminal space. It's very undefined in a lot of ways. The 4th moon does contain the cross-quarter point, which is the halfway point between the solstice and the equinox. And so it is its own kind of peaking and climax point. And that in itself is kind of a big energy because, you know, in the solstice, it's like the return of the light. And so it's like the very slow movement forward towards the dominance of light and the return of life and the return of the warmth. But you're not there yet. You're still in the depths of winter. It's like the second stage of winter. And then at the cross quarter point, it's like we start to edge into the push forward. And that push forward is so... I use this metaphor in my other video about the seed. The calendar that I use like very much follows like the life process of life process, and so a seed is a very good metaphor for it. But you know, it's like that really uncomfortable period of, I think it's called the quickening, of like life force being imbued, but you're still in the womb, you're still kind of floating in nothingness. And I gotta get moving. It's like really cold just sitting here. But yeah, it's kind of a strange time, and also just what's happening in nature. So much of building my own orientation in space and time has been watching nature and looking at nature. And you know, there again, it's like, oh, there he is. I think that's a harrier. It's such a liminal space, you know, like the landscape is just so brown and still so very lifeless. You know, if there is stirrings of life force energy, it's so deep in the earth. But I feel like everybody I'm talking to right now, you know, it's just like, what is going on in the world? Like, it's just such a... Oh. Mood. That was bad. I agree. Okay, now let's go this way. Yeah, so, you know, I say that because, you know, if you've been feeling weird or you haven't had the same capacity to build and to do things, it's like perfectly, again, in rhythm and in harmony with the natural world. And so, you know, it's been this whole process this last month to undo all of the cultural and capitalistic programming. Like, what productivity looks like for me right now is so different than how I think in the past I would judge myself, or how society would judge me, or, you know, how our culture would judge what productivity is. And that's been really interesting. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Anybody that's walked that path, you know, it's like when you're trying to self-define, that's what it is. It feels like that this time is so much about self-definition. Oh, I hadn't put that together before, but like the seed is becoming. Ah, that's so good. That's exactly what it is. But the problem with self-definition is it's so disorienting. You have nothing around you to tell you good, bad, right or wrong, up from down, inside or out. It's all about what's real and true for you. And that has been so much of my process recently too, about looking at my life. There have been some huge changes that are coming in my life, decisions and crossroads and transformations and all those things. It's been so overwhelming because with all of these things, I'm not following the well-trodden path. You know, I'm making a lot of decisions from my deeper knowing and my gut, and that's often so contrary to, you know, what we're taught or what linear logically according to the current system that we live in would be the smart thing to do or anything like that. And so it's been so disorienting and so overwhelming. Yes, exactly. But again, you know, it's like when I look at nature, everything is brown, everything is so still deep at the root. So just to say too, you know, if anything of what I have said resonates, you're really not alone. And if anything, you're probably much better off than you've been judging yourself as being. This is still a time of very deep inner work. It's not a time of a lot of externalization, you know. If anything, that's not happening until the equinox. So I guess if anything, I just want to say to you, let yourself do the things that, you know, that deeper work that you feel like you can really trust that. It's not easy because it's easier to, you know, do the thing that makes it look super productive in a particular way, but it's just not that. The new moon is coming up very soon, and starting the fifth moon. The fifth moon's very interesting. I actually had this idea that I would love to do, like, you know, with astrology, they have astrological forecasts. I did this back many years ago. I wanted to do these things called earthological forecasts or something like that, where it's like you read the energy of the earth and you read the energy of the natural world. Oh, it feels kind of weird to talk about this out loud. I feel very self-conscious. That would be really fun. Maybe I'll do that. Because even just having 4 seasons doesn't make sense. There's all of these micro seasons, which I know I talked about in one of my videos years ago. I'd love to make a video about it, and I've had ideas for podcasts and stuff as well. I call it Earthology. Let me know down in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in. Oh, it's just so beautiful. It just feels so good to just be outside. Yeah, I have been such a hermit. Haven't been going out and doing anything. I haven't been moving my body. That needs to change. I need to move my body more, even though it's so easy to just be totally incubated right now. That's all I want to do. Because also too, like when I go outside, my body's having a very strong reaction to the cold, the feeling of contraction. It just doesn't like it. It's like, it's too much. Whereas before, earlier, you know, in the peak of winter, my body kind of loved it, like loved the cold. And now it's like, no thank you. I'm not a fan. Last light, but the image quality is like so bad now. That's a little update from my life, and if you all at all resonate, or if you've been in a similar space, just know you're not alone. And if anything, you are perfectly attuned to the natural rhythm and cycle of the Northern Hemisphere. So you're actually doing great. We're doing okay. We're doing great. The only other thing I'll say is it just feels like right now, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the natural of the earth's cycles and rhythms and stuff, but there's something so much bigger going on right now. And it feels like that's why what we're going through and what we're processing, it's just so much more intense right now. Like, I don't remember it ever being this stark and this bold and this energetically intense when you're living through big times, we need to afford ourselves even more compassion, even more quiet, even more nature, even more understanding, even more all of the things, you know? Anyway, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Oh, look at our little house. It's so cute. Oh, so cozy. You got a little fire going. Can't really see the smoke, but so good. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in more videos about self-defined alternative living and learning along with me about how to live in harmony with nature, make sure to subscribe so you get notified when I post a new video. There's a really special group of people here, and I'd love if you joined. Wherever you are in the world, I'm sending you my love.